If you want a sequence that doesn't contain any duplicates, then use the set data structure. Welcome back to our series on Python basics. My name is Ankur, and in this video we'll see set data structure in Python. If you remember dictionaries, how you define a dictionary, you use the curly braces, and inside that you have a key value pair, let's say name, and name is John, right? Similar to that, if we will use the curly braces to create the set, but instead of writing key value pair, you can just write your values. So this is a set. As you can see, it has curly braces, so we have to make sure you don't confuse that with the dictionaries. And in order to create a set, you either use just the curly braces or you can use a set constructor. So there are two major properties of sets. The first one is sets are unordered. What I mean by that, if you add, let's say, 10 elements to a set, let's say you are adding 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? So these are the elements that you are adding to the set. If you try to print them, so their order might not be the same. You might get a result something like this, right? So don't get alarmed. So that's a property of the set. So whatever you add in the set, it's unordered. You can't access it in a sequence. Okay. Similarly, there is another property that is very important to remember. A set doesn't allow duplicate values. If you see other data structures like lists, right, you can add duplicate values in that. If there is a list, you can have a list like this. You have two ones here, right? But a set cannot be like this. Set can only have unique values. Okay, so if you try to make this one as a set, it will be an error. Okay. Similar to other data structures in Python, we will perform the CRUD operations on the sets. So CRUD means create, read, update and delete operations. So without further ado, let's get started. So first let's get started with creating the sets. So in order to create a set, as I mentioned earlier, if I just take a variable set1, in order to create a set, I just use the curly braces and give the values that I want to create. If I just print it, you can see we have created the set. You can also create a set2 using the set constructor. Okay, so if I just print set2, you can see we have created an empty set. In order to check that, you can just check the type of set2. Alright, it's a set. So by using the set constructor, you have created an empty set. Okay, if you want to create a empty set using the curly braces, right, if I just print it now, let's print the type of set3. Okay, you can see what's happened here. We have created a dictionary, not a set, right? So just take a note, if you want to create an empty set, always use the constructor. Okay, you can't create an empty set using only the curly braces. So if you want to use the curly braces to create a set, better give the values in it. Okay, so this is how you create a set. Alright, so this is the set3 we just created on line 11. So we say the sets are unordered, right? Let's check that. So let's say I create a set. I'll initialize it using the constructor. I'll add some values to it. Okay, let's say we will create a set of strings. I'll just copy this line. Okay, I'm adding these names. Alright, so if I just print this set, you can see our insertion order is not maintained in the output, right? So that is why we say sets are unordered. Every time I run the program, I'm getting a different insertion order, right? Sorry, it's not the insertion order, it's the display order, right? So if you remember the list data type, right? So the list data structure that we used. So in order to use a list, let's say we have a list 1, 2, 3, right? And if I want to access any element from the list, how did I do it? I'll just give the index of the element, right? So here in the list L1, if I just try to print the 0th index, I printed 1, right? But if I have a set S1, so it has 1, 2, 3 as similar to the list as values. If I just try to print the set, let's see, you can see we have printed the set. But if I want to access the first element, so how we will do it? We will use the square brackets and give the index, right? But that's wrong. You can see we are getting an error. Set object is not subscriptable, right? So we are not able to index the elements of a set, so we can't read them like this. So in order to read them, let's use a for loop. Sorry. So I will read each element and print them one by one. Alright, so I'll just comment this one out, and if I run my program, you can see we are printing the set elements. So here, so it's not printing them in order. As we saw earlier, sets are unordered. So in order to prove that, I'll create another set S2, John, Smith, Joe. Alright, so if I try to print these elements, I'll just delete this part. Let's not delete this, I'll just comment this one out. If I just run my program, you can see we are printing the list, right? Every time I run the for loop, every time I run my program in the for loop, you can see a different pattern is printed. As you know, sets are unordered, but in order to read the elements, this is how you need to do it. Or there is another way, you can convert your set to a list, and then you can access them using the index, okay? But we are not going to do that here. So one more operation is the update operation. So how you can update your set? We have already seen that, right? If I want to add an element to the set, so I can just use the inbuilt add function, right? So it will add an element to the set. If I just print again, just to show it again, you can see the set had 3 elements, and now we have added one more. There is also a update element, so you can see, so it's asking for a set in order to update it. So what it means is, if I just do get, so what this will do, it will add another set to my existing set. So it's kind of a union operation for the sets. You can see if I just run my program, you can see it has added Kate. What will happen, like if I try to add John here? Any guesses? If I run my program, you can see it didn't add the John again, because John was already there in the set, right? So as I showed you guys earlier, sets have a property that they are unordered and they avoid duplicates, right? So you can't add a duplicate value to a set. So these are the two functions that you can use to update your set, right? So updation from a set also means to reduce the set, right? Like if you want to reduce the size of the set, if you want to remove some element. As we saw earlier, you can't access any element using the index, right? So there is no indexing maintained in a set. So how you can remove an element? There is an inbuilt function called remove. So you will just give the value that you want to remove. Let's say from this set I want to remove j. If I just use remove and print, if I just run my program, you can see the output here. We have removed j from the set, right? There is one more way to remove from the set. That is an inbuilt function called pop. So what it will do, it will randomly remove an element from the set. Since set is unordered, right? So there is no order. So it's not like it will remove from the beginning or the end, right? It will randomly remove. So what element it's removing? So you can assign it to x variable. All right. I'll just print the x value, and after that I'll print my set value. So I'll run the program. You can see x value is John. So we have removed John using the pop function. All right, and the remaining set is Smith, Kate, and Joe. Okay, if we run this program again, so you guessed it right. Since we are removing the random element, so we have removed Joe, right? We have not removed John. So there are 3 elements remaining in the set. There are some more set operations that you can perform. So let's see what are those. If you just write s1 dot and press control. Did I press control? Yeah, no need to press. Just put a dot. You will see other options, right? So what other operations you can perform. So let's see clear what happens. I think you guessed it right. So it will just clear your set. Okay, it created an empty set. Let's not clear here. Let's try to see what are the other things you can do with the set. S1 dot difference. Okay, so I have 2 sets, S1 and S2, and I want to get the difference between them. Okay, so what this function does, if I just hover over it, it returns the difference between 2 sets and creates a new set. Since it creates a new set, I will assign to a variable S3, and I'll just print S3, right? So it's S1 difference S2. So it will give us a new set which will have the values which are not there in the set 2. So it will return a new set which will have all the values that are there in S1, right? But not in S2, right? S1 difference S2. Let's see. As you can see, Joe and John. So Smith is already there in the S2, so it returned us John and Joe. Similarly, if I do S2 difference S1, it will return us Mike, right? So let's see what else we can do. So there is an intersection method. So you might have guessed it right. S1 intersection S2. So it should return a common value. So what is common between these 2 sets? Smith, right? So it has returned this. So similar to this, if you see, there are many more operations that you can perform on your sets. Is superset, is subset. So these will return Boolean values. What else? Copy, if you want to create the copy of your set. And let's see if there is any union, if you want to combine 2 sets and create a superset. So in this video we covered set data structure in Python, and we covered the CRUD operations of set and many other operations such as difference and intersection. So to practice and to get to know more about the sets, I think what you can do, I have created an exercise. It has about 15 questions. So you can try to attempt these questions. So I will paste a link in the description. You go to the GitHub repo and try to do them yourselves. If you are stuck somewhere, just let me know. I'll paste the answer in the comment section. Until then, keep coding and see you guys in the next video.